Elena Raven, and today I'm going to be presenting a presentation on the shaping of interpersonal and situational perception in our society today. So my research question going into this project was, does who you are and where you are impact your perception of the world around you and how you are viewed by other people in the world? My argument thesis was that who and where you are do both play an important role in determining how people view you and your own perception of the world around you. To elaborate, these differences in internal, interpersonal, and situational perception generate different perspectives on the same topics and issues that our society is faced with, which can create issues such as racism, sexism, or other forms of discrimination. A counter-argument that I will be attempting to discredit through my presentation and presentations of evidence is that where and who you are does not influence your perception of others and your surroundings, that this perception is influenced solely through outside factors that cannot be controlled. Who you are affects your perception. Muslim women are viewed by Americans as needing saving. Americans view them as members of a society that is dominated by male oppression. For the most part, this is not true. This negatively impacts Muslim women's view of Americans in turn. You're much less likely to have a positive view of someone who has a very negative view of you or your culture. We can also cite eyewitness historians who are viewed by professional historians as unreliable, simply because they lack the higher level education and background training in history that the professionals possess. This leads the professionals to suspect them of things such as situational bias. Finally, we can reference sexism. Women in society are viewed by men to be less capable simply because of who they are, women. And like with Muslim women, this in turn impacts the way that women see men. Again, you're much less likely to have a positive view of somebody who views you as inferior or less capable to them simply because of who you were born as. Where you are also plays a huge role in determining how you are viewed and your perception of other people. Americans view Muslim women in America differently than they would view them in a Muslim country. To elaborate, in America, a Muslim woman wearing a hijab tends to be considered an outlier or someone different, and that can color our view negatively. However, in a Muslim country where that is the predominant cultural norm, they're viewed as just one of the many people in that country, rather than somebody different or to be alienated. We can also reference tourism. Americans giving a thumbs up in the United States, the thumbs up is regarded widely as a cultural norm of positive affirmation, whereas in other countries, such as Iran or Greece, it's considered offensive. And in some countries, American tourists are seen in a more negative light simply because they are American. Some potential actions we can take to move away from this predisposal to negative perceptions of people in the world around us is to move toward intercultural acceptance as a society. Locational and interpersonal stratification is, for the most part, determined primarily because of a widespread lack of acceptance of people who we see as different from ourselves. This can be eased into application through intercultural interaction. If you interact with somebody, even if you view them as different, you're more likely to see how similar you actually are. We can also try to educate people on the prevalent differences that exist between them, so there are less misconceptions. A common American misconception is that it is not a choice to wear a hijab, and it's a form of masculine oppression towards women in Muslim countries. For the most part, this is not the case, and it is a choice. If we are educated on this misconception, we will no longer adhere to that perception. The limitations of this proposal of action is that it's very difficult. People won't or can't change their perspective easily. Some people refuse to open their minds to the ideas that they are not born with. And pre-existing contradictions. Even if you're willing to open your mind and broaden your ideas of what other cultures can entail, if the aspects of another culture or religion actively contradict those of your own culture, it's very difficult to be accepting of that. Some implications of these solutions, should they be successful, is that societal issues, like I said at the beginning, racism, sexism, will move toward resolution. This would have huge positive benefits for the people in the society, including women, people of different cultures, and immigrants in countries where they are seen as outsiders. We will also have an increased understanding and participation in other cultures and religions. As a society, we would like to be more inclusive of people from other walks of life. We are much more likely to do this if we understand where they come from, how they came to possess these cultural traits, things such as that. Again, moving just towards much more positive interaction in society as a whole. Finally, another implication would be more peaceful intercultural interactions and fewer to no hate crimes. You're much less likely to attack somebody for who they are or what culture or religion they adhere to if you understand that culture and religion and are able to appreciate it as unique, different from yourself, but as a person, as similar to you, a person. And these are my sources.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions. Okay, so, what might the real world implications or consequences of your findings be, and what are the implications to your own community?
Well, the implications to my own community are pretty much the same as they are for the rest of the world. America is a melting pot of different peoples, and it's very important to be accepting of these peoples so that we can have a much more peaceful and just positive society. It's much more beneficial to everybody in a place to be accepting of the other people that are in it with them.
Okay. How did you handle the different perspectives in order to reach a conclusion?
I didn't really delve into the perspectives that people have. I'm more focused on the fact that they have these perceptions and why they have these perceptions. What can we do to change them so that people are educated when they perceive things about the world around them, rather than it just being, I see you, so this is what I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.